Our brain is always trying to keep us safe. Picture this. I'm halfway across the Pacific Ocean. Engine oil is running down my left hand. The muscles in my right arm are burning from manually pumping fuel. I keep looking at the GPS. The winds haven't swung around as forecast. Have I made a mistake? Continuously calculating whether I have enough fuel to make it to land. It's going to be close. Our brain, whilst always trying to keep us safe, can inhibit adventure. I just received my private pilot licence and needed to build hours to qualify for my commercial licence. My instructor suggested I fly 1 or 2 day trips, always returning to the safety and familiarity of my home base. This was a standard path for most students. Having done most of my training within that radius, I felt an itch to explore further. Flying up and down the east coast of Australia, though beautiful, felt repetitive. Fly north, keep Australia on the left. Fly south, keep Australia on the right. You get the idea. As if by chance, an airport regular came into the flying school and asked if anyone wanted to fly an aircraft he'd just bought. Yes, was the resounding answer from every pilot in the room. There's a catch, he said. It's in Arizona, and you'll need to fly it back here to Australia. Again, I said yes, kind of half joking. I was the only one though, with all the other pilots now saying it was crazy. This could be the ticket to getting the hours I needed. How hard could it be? I'd not long finished reading Sir Richard Branson's book, Losing My Virginity, and something he said really made an impact on me. If somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you're not sure you can do it, say yes, then learn how to do it later. The following day, I started to think about what I'd said yes to. I had volunteered to fly a single-engine aircraft, not much bigger than the size of a Hyundai Getz, with wings. They could typically only fly for approximately 5.5 hours before refuelling, from the USA to Australia. My instructor sat me down and we went through the risks. He said, Michelle, it's very different to the type of flying you've ever done. I'd only just received my licence and a grand total of 56 hours experience. It only has one engine. You'll be flying over vast stretches of water. Where are you going to get the fuel? You don't know the way. And probably the biggest risk, death. Yep, all valid risks. Then he repeated, look, just go and build your hours like everyone else. Why did my colleagues balk at the thought of adventure and choose familiarity? Our brain is trying to keep us safe. Humans are creatures of habit. Within our brain, the amygdala can trigger anxiety in the fight or flight response whenever we encounter something new. It's a primitive instinct protecting us from danger. The amygdala is that little almond-shaped part of our brain responsible for processing emotions. It's our built-in alarm system. Changing what we know is considered as a threat and is processed almost like this could be a saber-toothed tiger. Our brain is trying to keep us safe by making us stick to what we know. But here's the catch. The amygdala can't tell the difference between a real threat and a new opportunity. It processes both the same way. The racing heart, butterflies in the tummy, that nervous tension, they're the same sensations regardless of whether it's for threat or for adventure. That thrill we feel during adventure is the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter responsible for boosting our confidence and keeping our brains engaged. Dopamine is like nature's way of giving us a high five. It's a rewarding feel-good chemical that is the reason why we love scary movies, roller coaster rides, and even skydiving, although why anyone would jump out of a perfectly serviceable aircraft beats me. Now, what if we could reprogram our brains to see change not as a threat, but as an adventure? Because it's not the fear of change that holds us back, it's the fear of loss. Loss of comfort and familiarity. By shifting our perspective, we can emphasise the positive aspects of new experiences. Change becomes less of a daunting obstacle and more of a thrilling adventure. We can train ourselves to greet the unknown with curiosity and excitement. Going knowingly into the unknown, if you will. Now, it was my parents who helped me forge a positive relationship to change. My father was in the Air Force, so I went to many schools. They encouraged me to approach each move, each change of school, with curiosity. So I would research where on the map it was, points of interest, anything that would help me fit in. It gave me that sense of security I needed until I moved. Again, knowingly going into the unknown. I never dreaded changing schools. It was an adventure. My very first flying lesson, I also approached as an adventure. I'm not going to lie, this time I was scared. I'd left my full-time job, sold my house and my car, got a bank loan, and was a single mum. It's one thing to dream and talk about it, and here I was actually going to do it. That very first day, I turned up in full pilot uniform. I was more piloty than any pilot who had ever piloted before. There I was, striding across the tarmac, feeling extremely proud in my uniform, looking like I was about to command a Boeing 747, but in reality, about to step into a tiny aircraft for the very first time. I'd made the commitment though. I was all in. I'm going to ask you a question. How do you know there's a pilot in the room?
They'll tell you.
Exactly, they will tell you. So, how did I get that aircraft, the size of a small Hyundai gets with wings, from Arizona to Australia? Refuelling in midair was not an option. So, I removed the back seats and installed a huge rubber bladder that I filled with 750 kilograms of fuel that would give me approximately 15 hours of flying in total. I then installed a manual hand pump to transfer fuel from that rubber bladder into the wing, hence the burning muscles in my right arm. Now, a single piston engine, a small piston engine, is not designed to run continuously without oil. So, with the help of an engineer, I fabricated a system using an oversized toy syringe that allowed me to deliver oil into the engine during flight. I then island hopped across the Pacific Ocean. Now, the longest hop was approximately 13 and a half hours if the winds were in my favour. From Hollister, just south of San Francisco, to Hilo in Hawaii. Thankfully, the winds did end up swinging around to the tailwind I needed to make land. There were times, though, when I thought, what have I done? My flight didn't go as planned, with delays en route and even needing to reroute when I was told during my flight that fuel wasn't available at the island destination I was flying to. So, how did I manage this uncertainty and change to my plans? I'm here. When flying, to maintain our bearings and situational awareness, pilots use a flight attitude indicator or artificial horizon. It's our mini view of what's happening out the front window. Unless you're an aerobatics pilot, it should show the blue sky on top and the brown ground below. So when I started to feel overwhelmed, I focused on blue up, brown down. This gave me the feeling of control until I could work out what I was doing with my unplanned situations. My blue up, brown down was taking deep breaths and drinking water to remain calm and grounded. then gave me the headspace to be able to look at the change, see what I could manage in my change and what I could control, and then reframe what I couldn't change into an adventure. The 56-hour trip took me 5 days, flying from Hollister to Hilo, Hilo to Kiribati, near where it's rumoured Amelia Earhart's disappearance and final flight is said to have ended. And then from Kiribati, I flew to Pango Pango, Norfolk Island, Lord Howe Island, and onto the east coast of Australia. I delivered the aircraft to old mate, who was very grateful I didn't ditch, that is, land in the water. However, I didn't have enough hours for my commercial licence yet. So I turned around and did that flight 2 more times. However, I didn't do this just for the hours. Embarking on this adventure expanded my envelope of comfort when it came to facing new challenges. Saying yes to adventure, even when the path forward is not clear, is how we grow. Think about it. Life is about change. Every single day is a new opportunity. Why resist it? Fear may keep us safe, but it also keeps us small. Rather than focusing on what change takes away, focus on what it gives. Shift your perspective and you'll see that every change brings with it the chance to gain something new, to learn, to grow, and to move forward. So, breathe deep, quiet the whispers of fear, and let curiosity and adventure guide you. Cue wind and smoke machine.